Friday and a VO's journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. We got the hat. We've got the coffee cup. We are ready to rock and roll. It is April 9th, Friday. It's great to have you. If you're new to a VO's journey, make sure for just in the beginning here, you hit that like button, you subscribe so that you get notified whenever I go live or I put out a video. But it's great to have you guys. And if you are new to Fiverr Fridays in general, not just this channel, let me tell you a little bit what we do. Every Friday, I go live at 1 p.m. and we talk about Fiverr. I give you a little bit of a spiel, and then you get to ask questions, comments about Fiverr, and I do my best to answer them and to do everything I can to help you grow your business because I just that kind of guy. There you go. So welcome. welcome. Make sure you leave comments. Tell me where you're from, and so I can say hello to you. So anyways, again, happy Fiverr Friday. I'm excited to talk to you today. And the discussion today I wanted to go over with you is, how to grow your business on Fiverr as a new seller. And I put that title down there, but I think it's more important for me to also say how to grow your business on Fiverr, period. As a seller. And I think, this could be probably like constantly, a question that's always asked to me over and over again with good cause, right? It's our number one goal to grow our businesses. And I think we're always looking for that special something, right? That special sauce, that's something that's going to set us apart from everybody else. And today with my conversation with you, I want to give you my thoughts and hopefully help you grow your business, whether you're new or a veteran just trying to, make some more money in 2021. So, I wanted to talk today about something in the acting community, right? That is the basis for what we do as we grow, okay? And that's called imitation. Imitation is the basis for an actor's framework when it comes to what we do. We imitate real life. We imitate emotions. We imitate situations. We imitate, expression. Imitation is how we show, a message. And as voice actors, we do the same thing. And I want to talk to you today about imitation, but I want to talk to you in a different light when it comes to not just acting, but about your business in general and what you're doing on Fiverr to get better and how that's going to relate to getting business. So let's dive into this. So what I'm talking about is, let's say that you are on Fiverr and you're trying very hard to get business and you're just struggling. You're not getting business. And you start to identify a couple things. Like, for example, you aren't getting as many clicks as you'd like. Your impressions are down. You just can't seem to get orders. You don't know what to do. And let's say, for the sake of this argument, that you've watched me ad nauseum and you have seen me talk about over and over again how to make your gigs look more professional with a professional thumbnail, all right, and headshot with, great copy, a good description, having everything filled out, all 10 of your FAQs filled out, having a good variety of tags, right? Having a description that actually makes you look like, you know what you're talking about and want to help the person who's looking at hiring you. All right. Let's say your extras are really set up really well. Let's say all of your, your profile, everything is to the T. Let's also say that you filled all of your gigs out. All right. If you're starting out, you've got 7 gigs that Fiverr gets you. If you're level 1, you've got 10 gigs. If you're level 2, you got 20. And if you're a top rated seller, you have 30. Those are gigs that Fiverr allows you to put up whatever you want in any parallel category. It doesn't have to be just in one category. It can be in any. You might have multiple skills. So let's say for this argument that you've done all of that. And by the way, if you haven't done all of that before this, you need to do all of that. Okay, so if you're struggling right off the bat and you haven't done all of that, then you have to do all of that first. But let's say you've done all of that, all right, and you're still not getting work. Now it's time to be completely honest with you. You could be at a place where you actually need to do something drastically different with your voiceovers, with your style, with your delivery. It might be not working because people aren't hiring you because they don't want what you're selling. That does not mean you suck. Does not mean you can't do voiceover. It just means that you need to take a step back for a moment and say, listen, I've done all these things. I've exhausted all of my effort in trying to make it work, but I just can't get a leg up. I can't grow. Here's another perfect example. You could be one of those people who have grown to a certain point, but you're at like a cap, right? You've hit a plateau and you can't grow beyond the plateau and you don't know what to do. You don't know how to grow more, all right? That could be you as well. It all revolves around, in the end, once you've done all those things, are your performances in high demand? Is your demo closing the deal? And I'm not just talking about the production. I think, again, it's safe to say, it's important to say, what I'm talking about is at that point where you have done all of those things, all right? You've got the best demo you can get, all right? You've filled out all your other stuff. And that point where you get to that moment where you realize, I don't know why it's not working. This is the point where you have to take an honest look in the mirror and say, you know what? Maybe what I'm doing right now is not what people are interested in buying, or it's not what a mass amount of people are interested in buying. Again, that doesn't mean you suck. It means that you've got to rethink your inks. Meaning, this is where imitation comes in, right? Now, do not get imitation mixed up with impersonation. Impersonation is where we are actually, copying someone and pretending we are them. Imitation is taking an idea, a thought, an emotion, something that is a larger perspective, and putting our own spin on it. Okay? All right? We are imitating that style in our way. So, this is what I want to tell you today. It's important that you start to look at the people who are making a lot of money on Fiverr, getting lots of business, have tons of people in their queue, all right, tons of jobs. And don't make the mistake of looking at their gigs. I mean their copy and all that other stuff. All right, I've showed you what to do. If all you gotta do is watch my stuff, buy my course. All right, how to make $20,000 on Fiverr. Buy that course. That will get everything set up for you perfectly, just like any top-rated seller out there, better in some cases. I'm talking about, after you've done that, listen to their deliveries. Listen to their voice and the sound of their voice. Listen to the style of their demos. We are moving beyond... Okay, we are moving beyond just putting stuff out there correctly. We are moving to a place where are people actually interested in purchasing your voice and the style you are putting out? You've got to think about this like a product. I mean, that's what Fiverr's done, right? It's turned voiceovers, business services in general, into products, which I personally love. Okay, it gives us more control, I feel. But because of that, though, too, you have to take in consideration, you might be putting out a product that people don't want to buy. And it's not mean, you know what I mean? Again, it's not meaning that you can't put out a product people want. And please listen to me when I say this is not, I'm not talking about how good your production is. Again, hopefully we've covered that, right? That's already, doesn't need to be said. That needs to be perfect. All right, the production. I'm talking about the other part of this. I'm talking about the actual tone, the acting, the delivery, the words you're using, how you make me feel when I listen to your voiceover. All right. How well you are doing your voice acting. It's difficult to talk about that. And a lot of people don't, and coaches don't. It's typically because we go down that path where it's like, either you have this talent or you don't, right? Or you have that special something or you don't. And then we all have that fear. I have the fear. We all have that fear somewhere deep down inside that we're just not good enough to do this. Someone's going to find me out. For the longest time, when I was starting voiceover, for the first couple of years, I had this fear inside me that someone was going to find out that I was a fraud or something, right? That I really couldn't do this. Do you know what I mean? Or that it was all a joke. All those people who said I did a good job, they were just lying. Someone was going to find out. They're going to realize I suck, right? I mean, I had that fear for a long time. I think after a while, when you do so many voiceovers, you kind of realize you start to feel differently, right? Just because of what you've produced. But it's real, it's there. But we don't ever talk about changing your product because it's hard. I didn't mean to come on today and tell you episode 59, which, by the way, I had to say something about. We're on episode 59. Isn't that crazy? Of Fiverr Friday. It's really crazy. So I want to thank you guys for being so wonderful and being a part of Fiverr Friday for so long. But, we don't talk about this part because it's not easy to fix. And when I say fix, I want you to think of more of this is like a game, like a big challenge. And our job is to try to continually find the solution to these challenges as they come up. Most of us lose that idea that we're an entrepreneur, solving challenges, solving big ideas right after we start our business. Many of us quit being an entrepreneur and we just go into work mode, and we forget to think outside the box. This is that type of time where you have to think outside the box. You've got to take a step back and look and say, you know what, maybe I'm not doing everything that I can do. Maybe I did pay $3,000 for a demo and it's an awesome demo, but yet no one is buying my voiceovers. So maybe it's not my production. Maybe it's not my pictures. Maybe it's not my equipment. Maybe it's not my gear. Maybe it is the product that I'm putting out, the style that I'm doing, the tone in my voice. Okay, the pitch in my voice. You have to be willing to try all of these things. I've taken some pretty big pivots in my business, meaning as I started this business, I've made some big turns, meaning when I came to a fork in the road, I've made some really big turns. And a part of being a business owner is you got to make big decisions. Maybe one of those decisions is taking something that was working okay, all right, and then going out on a limb and doing something different in order to grow beyond okay. That's just as scary as, starting out and not getting anything, right? Because especially if you already have something going and then changing it in order to grow even more, that's just as much scary. I think that can be even more frightening than other things sometimes. But those are the things that we have to tackle. And where imitation comes in is you need to start to work on imitating different genres, different deliveries, different styles, researching, working on finding what people are buying in mass quantities. what people are looking for. And I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about trends, but it's more so the trends beyond just what they're purchasing. Like they're purchasing medical narration, or they're purchasing producer tags, or they're purchasing, specific video narrations. I'm not just talking about those type of categories. I'm talking about the delivery of it. Is it deep? Are they like deep and slow voices? Are they? Is it breathy? Is it raspy? Is it high energy? Is it upbeat or millennial? What is the specific genre that goes with that specific genre? We've talked a little bit. Last week we worked on scripts, right? But we've talked in the past about your demo being more than just a collection of 6 to 8 spots. Also, your demo tells someone what your overall business, right, is kind of offering. Does that make sense? Like the way your style is, what your, the story underneath the story. It's like you're telling multiple stories with your demo. Not only are you telling the story of the words that you're saying, but your music, the way you say the words, and the overall production tells multiple stories about the product you're pitching, your own business as a voice actor and a business owner, as well as the businesses you're talking about in the audio, and how professional your business is. But also you're telling a story about where you fit into the overall market of advertising and marketing, etc. If you're doing voice, like if you're putting out a demo that is all about, car lots and, quick pieces going out of business, or big, come now, big types of stuff like that, right? That's great. But, there's going to be a limited market to someone who, like me, is putting out these, thought-provoking video narration pieces that go with the types of videos that are being produced in mass quantities right now, all right, that people are looking for. At the same time, I don't sell a darn. I hardly do any phone messaging, yet some people make a killing doing phone message and IVR. All right, and that's my specific style and tone is not matching up. If I wanted to break more into that industry, I would have to spend time looking at what people are doing, what they are saying, how they formatted their demos, how the words that they've used, the pitch, the speed, all of that stuff matters. It matters. The picture that you have, we've talked about the thumbnails. I'm just trying to talk about the work. But imitating that overall idea of the people who are being successful has been a recipe for growth and success throughout history. And it still is today. But you have to go into this situation realizing that we might not know what the solution is. We might not know why we're not getting work more than we are. And if we've done all of those things that I've mentioned before, and you've pushed the envelope on making you look as professional as possible, and you got everything filled out and everything done, it might be time for you to hire a coach. It might be time for you to get, work on your acting, work on that imitation where you are going and seeing who is winning and looking at what they're doing. Look beyond just what they've written. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to their voice, right? What do you think? And again, I'm not talking about impersonation, okay? So you might be like, what pops into my head is, well, Anthony, how do you change your voice? Like, you didn't change your voice, all right? Well, one, that's not true. You can change the pitches in your voice, etc. But our voice are always going to sound a certain way, all right? Like us, that's fine. But no matter what your voice sounds like, the way you express an emotion, the way you tell a story, that's powerful. That is what people want. And people will buy that from you if you can do it effectively and better than anyone else. And that should be your goal, to do it the very best that you can do. All right? That has to be. And if you are stuck, that needs to be at the forefront of your mind after you've completed all those other tasks I mentioned. You have to take a step back and say, you know what? Maybe it really is actually my delivery, my voiceovers, my acting. Even though I have all this great stuff, maybe it is. There's no shame in it. We all have to get better all the time. This industry, acting in general, is a lifelong pursuit because our life is a lifelong pursuit. We are always growing and changing. So does acting, and so does our voiceover business. All right, you guys, I've been on that pedestal for a good 20 minutes. I'm going to hop off, give you guys a chance to ask questions. This is that moment where I shut up, well, for a moment until I answer your questions, and you post down comments, questions. I read through them and answer them and see if we can't get you some business going. So let's go ahead and start tackling this. And real quick, just so you know, there is this thing called the Super Chat where you can donate to the channel. It helps grow. It helps me keep doing these things. There's a little button on the bottom on YouTube where it's like a little money sign. If you're interested, I'd love, anything you can give will help tremendously so that I can keep putting this content out. Thank you guys so much. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Facebook user, hello AP, hey, what's going on? Tom Johnson, what's up? Chelsea, oh yay, my notifications worked this time. Happy Friday. That's awesome, Chelsea. Don, I know they've been working the last couple of times. I got my emails. I get an email when I go live. Isn't that nice? Grant, what's up? What's up, AP? Good to have you, Grant. Sean for voiceovers. Fiverr alerts are going off as I watch live. Life is good. Amen to that. Johnny, my man. Happy Fiverr Friday. Good to have you. I did want to mention that, my hearts and thoughts goes out to the UK and everything with the prince dying today. So that was very sad. I woke up to that news. So my heart goes out to you guys. Let's see. Facebook user, hey all, happy Friday. What's going on? Nick, hey all, actually watching live for the first time in a while. Good to have you, Nick. Happy Fiverr Friday, you too. Bill, what's up, Bill? Thank God it's Fiverr Friday. I like that. TGIFF. All right, Brian says, oh snap. It's Anthony live on Fiverr Friday. It's about to go down. I like that, Brian. Voiceover Angela. Hello, Angela. Good to have you. Happy Fiverr Friday, everyone. Sean says, I've definitely hit a plateau sitting between second level and top rated seller. Days seem to drag on. Yeah. So again, that goes in exactly what we were talking about. This isn't just, like I said, this is, I put new seller. And, this is definitely for new sellers. But this is also for people who are stuck at a plateau, right? You've got, if you want to reach a new level, you're going to have to do something different. Now, I don't want you to go out and change your entire business overnight and be like, Anthony told me to. Don't do that, for goodness sake. But think about, what is it that you're going to need to do in order to get more business? What is it that can help you grow? Take a good look at your overall business. If you don't know what's going on, maybe you need to implement something like, a tracking system. Maybe you need to measure what activities you're doing, what, how much work you're getting here or there, like what's happening. Maybe you need to do something like I did. Like I implemented a while ago a question on my requirements page, which I say, why did you choose to work with me? And that's been so beneficial because it showed me that on what I was doing on my demo and the spots that I had in the order I had it was working. Because the majority of people that answer that question say, we like that first spot, we like the forward spot, the first spot on your demo, we want you to do it just like that. I get that 80-90% of the time, which tells me what I've done, what I've put together in this particular situation is working. If they were telling me something else, like we like your price, or they weren't answering the question, or there was something else, I pick up on that, right? All right, you pick up on these things, and now I know that's hard if you're not getting business, but again, this is just for everybody. If you're getting business, that's a great way to do it, and you should have it anyways. You should be putting that up there even if you're just starting. Asking a question on your requirements page, why did you choose to work with me? It's a great way to get feedback. Let's see. Scott, what's up, Scott? Great to have you. Hey there. Happy Fiverr Friday. Good to have you. Eileen. Hello, Eileen. Said, hi, Anthony. I caught you on your live stream again. It's point 12 here in Indonesia. Love your content. Thank you so much for being here and watching from Indonesia. And I hope you get some good rest afterwards. Joe, what's up? Good to see you, my man. Joe, excellent Fiverr Friday, man. I love you, brother. I'm in all the way. Awesome, Joe. Michael, what's up, Michael? Hi, Anthony. Thanks again for showing us how to get scripts. I've been making a lot of good demos from my finds. Awesome. That's awesome, Michael. Yeah, it's a great method. If you didn't see that, that was last week's Fiverr Friday. Check that out. Mel, what's up, Mel? You said, humph. Your tip about asking why the client bought my gig gave good info about what it is I'm doing right or wrong. That's all. Yeah, it's so beneficial. It's so funny you mentioned that because I just learned. It's so beneficial to get that feedback. And a lot of times when they leave a review, okay, well, you know, most of the time you get about 65, 70% review rate. Okay, that varies between 50 and 70%. But a lot of time that reviews, you know, the reviews are kind of generic. But when they're forced to say, why did you know, like the question you ask is so important, right? The actual, the question. So when you say, why did you choose to work with me? Okay, you know, that gives a nice opening for them to leave an open-ended answer. So they can go on a little bit. They can say nice voice, but they have I've had people say all sorts of things. Like they like the fact that I make a promise that I promise to deliver, in this, with these types of, or they like that I promise to deliver, you know, with excellent quality, or I stand by my work, all sorts of different things. My portfolio. That's one I get often. They like my portfolio of work. Now, as a top-rated seller, you get a portfolio option on Fiverr, but you also have that option to put up multiple gigs. You have the option to put up not just a video, but 3 different demos, up to, I think, 3 minutes each on each one of them, or 3.5 minutes, or something crazy like that. So you have an option to put up a lot of stuff there, even if you don't have that top-rated seller option yet of putting up video demos. Put up as much work as you can. Let's see. Grant, what's up, Grant? You say, what you're talking about is why I balk a bit on putting a huge number of gigs. 1 or 2 work. The other 5 sit. Now I have to try and fix 5 others. Now, listen, I understand it. And you have to think, too, that I'm a big advocate for getting out as many lines in the water as possible. And also, think about this. We don't know. And I it would be cool to see, although I don't know, I'm sure Fiverr tracks it somehow. But I think it would be really interesting to see the people that come to our gigs, our gigs, and they look at our work and then decide to click on another one of our gigs, right? Or they find us and they look for another part, right? And they end up on where they are. Or like me, I do get a lot of questions, you know, where people send me, you know, and say, hey, you know, how much would it be for this script? I don't know what gig they found me on. I don't know where they found me. It doesn't ever tell me where. I mean, unless they create an actual offer, you know what I mean? Like where they send me something requesting an offer and they get to choose what gig I am. I don't know where they found me from. That's why you put out all of those gigs. Even if you don't have a lot of work going through the different gigs, it can still be a way for people to find you. Okay? It can still be a way for people to find you. So that's why I'm a big advocate for it. And if you're not getting work on those other ones and you want to get more work on those other ones because your main ones maybe aren't as busy, absolutely right, Grant. You got to dive in and keep working on all of them. Any work that you can do on bettering yourself as a performer is great. Okay? Let's see. Scott, what's up, Scott? Finally got my first Fiverr job yesterday. Congrats, and got a 5-star review. Nice. Thanks for the tools, tips, and support. Absolutely, Scott. Let's see. Eileen says, response time really matters in getting sales. It's your chance to captivate the buyers when they reach out to you. From my experience as a buyer on Fiverr, I tend to hire the earliest seller who responds. You know, that's a really good point, Eileen. I mean, you have to think, don't forget, right, that people are looking for a great customer service experience. I mean, I always talk about Chick-fil-A, whether you've had a good experience with them or not. The reality is, Chick-fil-A's built an entire business around customer service. I like their chicken sandwich, but it's not the best chicken sandwich. But their service is constantly above everyone else's. Okay? Even with the please and the thank you and just the manners in which they use when you go through the drive-thru. Okay? They're outside taking your orders. They're moving like it's so different than any other fast food place. And that's why theirs is packed all the time and other places aren't. I'd hate to be a fast food place, go up right next to Chick-fil-A. I know you've seen them. It's awful. We had a Burger King right next to Chick-fil-A. Burger King went out of business, and the Chick-fil-A is just packed all the time. I feel bad, but if you go through both of them, one was just completely different experience than the other one. One was like, we want you to be there. We're excited you're here. We're thrilled you're here. You got a problem? That's okay. We're still excited you're here. It's important. Okay, you guys, make the analogy here, right? But sometimes at this other restaurant, it was very like, we don't want you here. All right, and they never say it, but you get that feeling. That's why I was trying to tell you, the imitation, the feeling that you're giving out matters. So that's why I think that's a great point that you made, Eileen, about responding. Okay. And I'm not talking about, you not being able to respond. If you can't respond, it is what it is, right? In a timely manner. You got to do what you got to do. But, it's the overall feeling. If someone gives you a hard time on Fiverr, which we know happens all the time, they're customers. So you have to make a choice. What does your business do if someone gives you a hard time? Do you go after them and blast them back? Do you leave a mean review when they leave a review that's not very nice of you? Or do you always act above board and treat the client, even if they're being a butthead, with the utmost respect? Because remember, that client is done and gone, but other clients see it. I know we're getting into reviews. I don't know how I got down that path. But, is maybe Anthony's philosophy of business. But it just means a lot to me that we stay above board because we are a business. We should try to remove our personal feelings out of it and make sure the business is, reflecting our core beliefs. All right. Not how we feel that particular day. And it's tough because we do get some customers who are testing. All right. But anyways, good comment, Eileen. Let's see. Facebook user. It almost feels like having an expensive demo only lasts so long, as if you need to invest a couple grand every couple of months to keep up. A part of that I agree with, but I also want to point out that I would recommend, because it can be expensive if you're not making that money to do that. So either you're making enough money to continuously reinvest it, and you should, whether it's coaching, demos, etc., or you also reinvest it in coaching on how to do it yourself so that you can create this stuff yourself. Right? Because I think that's something that can be very beneficial to everybody. Now, you might not want to do it. That's okay. That's your business decision. And it does take time. You know what I mean? But that's for you to judge. And also, if you do that, then you can also determine whether you want to offer that service. Right? Makes sense? But you're right. You've got to continuously pump out content. We've talked about content too. That might be a good topic for next time. The amount and what type of content we need to be pushing out. Content doesn't just mean for social media. Content means in general, what are you putting out there for your business? What are people seeing? What samples and demos and the things you're creating on a regular basis? Very true. Let's see. Michael says, rest in peace, DMX. Rest in peace, DMX. Did DMX pass away? I haven't heard that. any advice for watermarking your audio files when people ask you to record the first script in a larger project to see tone? It's basically an audition, so don't want to charge them. But yeah, but don't want to be able to use it without hiring me. Jason, I simply do something like this where I have a multi-track set up and I just literally put up, this is a sample. This is a sample. And I copy and I repeat it and I put it underneath it every few seconds, just like, they like voice jungle, like just like an Envato Elements in different places. Yeah, that's exactly what you could do. Let's see. Derek, what's up, Derek? Says, happy Fiverr Friday. Thanks again for your advice. Absolutely. The topic is right on point for me at the moment. Just bought your conversational read course. Awesome. Thank you. And I'm really enjoying it. Fingers crossed for the results. Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's a good course too. Sean for voiceovers. I've had a big run lately on no reviews, nor do they complete the order. Fiverr just closes it out. Come on, people, have some decency. Yeah. Hey, do you, Sean, here's a little question. When you submit your voiceover, do you also ask if they would be, leave a review? Remember, you can ask a client to leave a review. You just can't ask them to leave a positive review or a 5-star review. You can't ask them to leave a type of review, but you can ask them to leave a review. I always ask them to leave a review. I ask that on the delivery and on revisions. I also ask them to favorite my gig. You can do that. You just can't ask them to leave a specific type of review, like a 5-star review or something. So I would recommend you do that. And if you are doing that and they're still not doing it, I have many of those too. Like I said, it's usually around 50 to 70%. It fluctuates pretty big in between those numbers of people who leave a review and people who don't. And it's going to be bigger the more people you go through, right? I mean, some people are pumping out. They just don't leave reviews. Let's see. Nikki, what's up, Nikki? Says, I can't believe it. I finally managed to catch some of your show live, and it's my birthday. Hey, happy birthday. What a treat. Nikki from the UK. Happy birthday, Nikki. That's awesome. I just had my birthday on the 4th. I got back Wednesday night. It was a blast. So happy birthday. Mark, what's up, Mark? What are the chances that my gig will be selected when the buyer knows that I'm new to the platform? Is there a way to intro yourself without appearing too green so that you'll at least have a chance to be selected for work? Great question, Mark. So one of the big things you need to do is make sure that every single thing from top to bottom, from your thumbnail to your demo, to your pictures, to your description, to your FAQs, to your extras, to your profile description, to your education, to the gigs you've put up, everything looks completely professional. I mean, 100% professional. I find that most beginners really mess up in this area. And it's not their fault. They're just starting out. Okay. But that's a big thing. That speaks volumes. One thing I love about performing and acting is that, and you hear the story all the time, right? If you are right for the part and you're in the right place at the right time, you're going to get the part, whether you have all the experience in the world or not. In this particular case, being in the right place at the right time, you're in the right place at the right time. What you got to do is make sure you look and sound as professional as possible, and you'll get your chance. Another way to do it, and I know it's a testy subject sometimes, is price. And, price is another marketing tool. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to charge what you got to charge in order to get yourself out there. And then as you grow, you raise your prices. Again, it's a marketing tool. Just like charging a large number is another marketing tool, right? You're going to, no matter what you do, no matter what you charge, whether it's low or high or in the middle, you are going to, cut off a group of people. There are going to be people who don't want to pay above $5 for voiceover. And there's going to be people who don't want to pay ever $5 for voiceover. Okay, you're just going to you have to be aware of that. And you've got to be aware of, where your business is. Also, another side note, and I want to make this point like I always make. Your price is not a reflection of your worth. Please, it's not a reflection of your work. Price is an indication of what your business's product is selling right now and what your business commands in the market at the moment, not you. I said this over and over again, and people say this all the time, and they mean well, but I think it gives out the wrong idea. You are invaluable. You cannot put a price tag on you. You can't. There's no amount of money anyone could pay, at least in my opinion, for you. So when you use those words like, I'm worth more, you're darn right. I almost cursed. You're darn right you're worth more. You're worth more than anyone could pay you. So that's not what we're measuring here. We are measuring what your business can get right now for its product. The product is a voiceover. Does it happen to be your voice right now? Yes. But what happens if let's pretend you are doing, your spouse's voice and you are managing their voice and you are running the business. So it's not your voice, it's their voice. So your product is a voiceover. It is not determined about how much your spouse is worth. There is no price you can put on that. Okay? But what you can do is look at what your business, the experience your business has, the command of people knowing who your business, the brand. You can measure that. All right, and that should help you get away from the idea of this personal worth. I just don't like. It's just a personal. Again, people who say that, they mean well. Right? And a lot of people believe that. And it's more for me about my business. Because I don't think anybody can pay you or I for how much we're worth. We're just incalculable. All right, that's my sermon on that. You get me started about that. I don't even know. You didn't even ask that. I don't know how I got into it. Let's see. What are the chances that... Okay. So again, Mark, that would be what I would do. Make sure everything looks as professional as possible. Then you need to make sure you are putting out content as much as possible. Getting into buyer requests as much as possible. Posting on social media, which is linking back to your gigs as much as possible. Okay? Do not stop until you are where you want to be. So if you're not doing any activity, that's a problem, right? Okay? So there's got to be some activity going on. Don't just rely. Remember, Fiverr's job is to, their whole point was them build a marketplace and then send people into that building. And when they're in there, it's our job to do the best we can, while wherever our booth is. Okay, but you can also send people to your part of the building too on your own. Okay, so don't be afraid to do that. Me and these analogies. Brian, what's up? You say, what are your thoughts on gig thumbnails regarding having a different look for each different gig? I think it's fine. Just remember, I'm always big about people wanting to see who you are. You know what I mean? The Fiverr recommends, 75, 80% of it be a photo of you and the other 20% be writing. I'm real big about that to make sure it shows us who you are. But I think it's a good idea to vary it up. Now, I can tell you this. This is such an interesting, to me, it's so interesting. I think human nature is fascinating to me. Like my thumbnail, I have a specific thumbnail that I use a lot and it works. And what's crazy is when I deviate from that, even if I make, because I feel like I can make really good thumbnails. They don't sell as much, but when I use a specific thumbnail, it sells like crazy. And if you have to think that, it goes beyond like the overall feel, the overall, connection that you're making with your thumbnail, with your voiceover, with your words, right? It all meshes. It's all like when you go into a store and you feel like something's right or you feel like something's wrong. You don't know what it is, but something's wrong, all right? Or like you see a movie. You ever watched a movie and you leave the movie at the end, or you watch a movie and by all accounts, the movie should have been incredible. It was great graphics, pretty decent acting. It was okay, but there was something, you just didn't like it. There was something wrong. You don't know what it was. It didn't all mix. So you'll never see that movie again. All right. We've all been to those movies. All right. It's the same thing. It's finding the balance, like that, what goes together, and you got to work through that. So, I recommend that you try out all kinds of different things. putting different ones and see which one works the best. Okay. Now, again, there is a certain amount of control we don't have, right? We don't have the control to say, okay, well, tomorrow I'm just going to set myself on the first page and see what happens and then experiment. Of course, we don't have that. All right. So a lot of this is, out of our hands. But I think being able to, try out these different things is what I did. It helped me tremendously. Okay. With figuring out what worked and what didn't work. No top rated seller, and everybody didn't have. There's like one or two people who probably had the same thumbnail since they started 10 or 11 years ago. But all of us have changed tons of times trying to figure out what works. Okay. Let's see. Sean for voiceovers. My business flow is everyone gets a 5-star review no matter what. I just swallow the rest. Flow is everyone gets a 5-star review no matter what. Oh, yeah. I hear what you're saying. Me too. I'm the same way. Nikki says, after watching your video on computers for VO, you said about a good size screen. My husband bought me an ultra wide monitor for the booth for my birthday. Hey, cool. Congrats. Yeah, so important to have a big screen so that you can see. We did the interview with Gabby, voiceover Vixen. We were talking about screens and how important that was too. Just a big screen. If you look at any person that you see, a professional too, they just got big screens because it's so much easier to work with more space than work with a small laptop screen. Now you work with what you have, but you should want to get a bigger screen eventually. It makes life so much easier. Okay, so DMX passed away from a drug overdose. He was 50. Man, yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe it. My heart goes out to everybody for DMX too. That was a lot of us grew up with DMX. Jay says, what happens if a client wants to buy a voiceover without broadcast rights at first, but want to later, after they get approval on their end, they change their mind outside of the 3-day period? Great question, Jay. So I've done this often. I will send a completely different order for commercial rights, and I'll make sure that I include the order number and say, these broadcast rights are granted to this number, and that's what this order is for. I've done that many times. Because I've had people come back after 3 days, like 10 days later, and they want to buy the rights. Happens a lot with apps and things like that for me. Especially, depending on how many different ones they do. So I've done many that way. Absolutely. Let's see. Dave G. Check Microsoft research on screen size. They spent $10 million to determine best screen size, 27-inch by 2 increase was 2-time productivity. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. That's what I have, 27-inch screens. I've got one here and one in my booth. And some people like the dual screens or big TVs, even like bigger TV. Whatever works for you. Voiceover Angela, lots of April VO babies. Yeah, absolutely. Joe, what's up? Yes, I agree on the review. I always ask, getting them to close the order after delivered is another story. Yeah. Let's see. Is it Sushil? I hope so. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Hey, been watching some of your videos for the last few days, and they're very useful. Well, thank you. Let's see. Joe says, happy birthday. Thank you, Joe. Shout out from India. It's great to have you from India. Let's see. Sean says, yes, I do have a lightning response set. That says it would really help my business out if you left an honest review. Okay. Sounds good. We can't control what they do. I've had times where I've had like 10 or 15 just automatically close. And then I've had 10 or 15 where each one of them left a review. It's nothing you can do about it. But what you're doing. Been getting really positive descriptive order reviews as well. That's awesome, Joe. Dave says, client offer was $100 for 550 words, 12-hour delivery. I countered at $125. They balked. Too bad for them. Okay. I mean, that's your choice as a business owner. You know what I mean? Your choice as a business owner. Let's see, Joe, I really like your price analogy. Thank you, Joe. Anthony, thanks for all you do for the community. Thank you so much. Dave G says, just bought the Audient ID14. Sweet, nice. Wanted to have a mic editing station too for quick auditions. That's awesome. Facebook user says, I like that analogy about the building. Well said. Thank you. Henning Badro, happy Fiverr Friday. Hello. I'm currently doing VO as a side hustle and only have a few hours a day. After Fiverr, which website would you say is the second best? Upwork is too much work for me to be on top. Great question. Fiverr is unlike any other website. And what I mean by that is every other website and the way it traditionally works, okay, in voiceover, or acting in general, right, is that you have to actively go find work. Okay. And the reason why that happened was because there was always way more actors than work. So, someone would post an audition and everyone would show up for the audition. Someone would post a job and everyone would submit, a proposal to be in that job. That's the way pretty much the rest of the industry works. Or you have an agent and they find the work and send you the audition and you audition. So either way, that's why I say Fiverr is such a unique thing, because Fiverr is unlike any other business really. And now you can create your own way like that, in the sense that, you can do things that create, jobs. Now, I would say when you talked about Upwork, there's a lot of people who make more money on Upwork than they do on Fiverr. Okay. And sending out 1 to 3 proposals a day, right? If you work on it, you get your templates down, you know what you're doing and looking for, and you put in the correct filters and stuff, which, by the way, I have a great Upwork 101 course if you want to check it out. It tells you and shows you how to do all of that. By the way, another thing that's going on in Upwork too is the gigs. I've heard more and more people getting work from the gigs on Upwork. So that's something too that you look at, but no other sites like Fiverr. Fiverr is really truly unique. But so that doesn't mean we don't be on every other site. I'm an advocate for you to be everywhere. You just got to know that every other site brings a different type of view. I do recommend Upwork. Voquent is really good. People per hour. These sites don't have the traffic the closest site that has traffic like Fiverr would be Upwork. But, you've got to actively do work on those platforms, where Fiverr, after you put your gigs up, can bring you work. But as we're talking about, there's even more work you got to do on Fiverr. So I think, the goal would be for you to build a system to where you do X amount of activities a day. All right. And you measure those activities. I haven't talked in a while about lead measures. We talk about lead measures and lag measures, and this is a way to measure and grow your business from an analytical numbers standpoint, which I love. Okay. Because I love taking the guesswork out of things. We haven't talked about that, but as part of my marketing course and mentorship program, we use that to help people grow quickly in a year's time. But this idea of measuring with lead measures and lag measures, having daily activities that we can directly affect the outcome and measure that outcome and make changes where needed is important, right? So that's what helps in this scenario. So I would say that, if you're having issues with time, you know what I mean, then you've got to figure out when and what, take a step back and look and say, okay, what am I capable of doing? Take the pie in the sky thing away and say, what is realistic? And you got to go all in on what's realistic. That's what I did. That's why I went all in on ACX and audiobooks when I first started, because I didn't have time. I started at 10 p.m. and I could go to 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and I had to put up and take down my booth every night. Then there was the only thing I could do. I couldn't talk to people during the day because I was working. I couldn't do anything, in the afternoon. I was with my family, at between 6 and 10. And then all I could do was, do books and auditions late at night. All right. And as time went on, I learned and I got better and I was able to do more and grew my business in many different ways to the point where I finally was able to go full time, in which case that doesn't affect me anymore. But you got to do the best with what you have time with. All right. If you were a student of mine, I'd tell you to be on every single platform. Every single one you could. I mean, how bad, how much do you want it? Yeah, but that's definitely a tough question. Your Sound Studios, what's up? IE, thank you so much for your thorough review. The information you've provided will be of utmost value as I move forward. If there's anything I can do for you in the future, please let me know. Thank you. Joe, human nature is totally, absolutely interesting. Yeah. Grant, what's up, Grant? Hey, I get these messages for audition requests and want further information about my VO services. I answer, then they don't answer back. Is this normal? Should I expect to hear from them again? Grant, yes, there's so many different things going on. A lot of these people do, I've had many people ask for auditions from me. And some of them I've done auditions for, I've got the job. Some of them, just like you said, they've messaged me. I messaged them back asking for something. I never heard from them again. Some of them, they get marked as spam. What happens is a lot of these people don't realize they go on there and they do a blast. They just message all sorts of people. Fiverr marks that, Fiverr flags that, or enough actors or voice actors or whoever marks them as spam, Fiverr will mark it as spam. You might see a message and then it get cut off. They might, they might just disappear, or they might have found somebody already. All right. I'll never forget when I first started on Fiverr 4 years ago. I'll never forget this. Someone messaged me and I was like, oh, I got an hour. You know what I mean? And I messaged them back in 15 minutes. And they were like, sorry, we've already found somebody. They were faster than you. I'll never forget that. In under 15 minutes. Okay. And that, I'll never forget that. And I got this, I got this habit of making sure I try to, respond as fast as I could. It happened to me all the time. So now I don't really care as much because I have, a lot of repeat business, but I still try to respond as fast as I can. And I often always get complimented that I respond so quickly, like we were talking about earlier. So that response rate is very important. But yeah, it's tough. Okay. So, and Grant, should you expect to hear from them again? I wouldn't. If they don't, they don't get back to you, they might have gotten kicked off or they might have found somebody. The best you can do is say, hey, thank you so much. Could you please send me a script? Or, I'd love to help. Send me, how many words are there? Send me a script. If you don't, or if you send them an audition and they don't get back to you, they don't get back. They might have picked someone else. I mean, remember, people aren't really thinking about how they can help you grow as a voice actor. They're just thinking about their business and what they need. I wish in a perfect world we could get that feedback. Michael, let's see. Hey, Michael, when trying to diversify your gigs, it seems many demos are needed per gig. Are any of your demos DIY, or do you have them all done by third-party studio? Thank you, Michael. So all my demos are done by me. But of course, I do professional demos for other voice actors. But I do all of my demos. And the only thing that is not done by me are I have a lot of videos that have been produced from my voiceovers by clients. And I use a lot of those videos in my portfolios because they're excellent videos that my clients have made, right? But all the demos, all my MP3 demos are made by me. I've always made all of my own demos. Actually, I've never had someone else make any of my demos. But I do that as a passion of mine. That's why I help other voice actors. And I have a production person who also works with me to help voice actors with their demos because not everybody has that time, that skill set, etc. So, yeah. So mine personally are all done by me, myself. Let's see. Oh, but do I recommend? Absolutely. I recommend either you learn how to do them yourself, you get someone else to work with them, like me, I can help you, or other people do. There's other people who do amazing demos as well. It really boils down to what you're trying to accomplish, and do you have time to do it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so there's many factors there, but my personally is all DIY. Jay, let's see. Do I have it right that Fiverr Terms of Service basically states there is a moral but not a legal obligation to buy commercial broadcast rights. I think it said Fiverr nor the seller can enforce the rights. So Jay, this is a great point that you brought up, and I've talked about it multiple times. And this is why it's important for you to make sure that everybody goes and looks under, if you scroll down to the bottom of Fiverr, and you even go to the intellectual property claims little icon down there, click on it, and read what they ask you to have. All right? Unless you have a legal document, you've had them sign something, okay? Fiverr's right. Fiverr is just a pass-through. There is no legal recourse unless you specifically have a law, a signature, you sign an affidavit, all this kind of stuff for them to actually make sense for you to go after somebody. So yes, that's very important. Okay, I've had people ask, hey, should we have a document that people sign or that people have to? Yeah, sure. Okay, I don't have as much problem anymore with it at the price point I'm at. People pay, commercial and broadcast rights. But I do something that I think will help you. I ask it in a way on my requirements page to where I make sure, do you need commercial rights? All right. Then I put a yes or a no under multiple answer, and that pops up a bubble. So they have to actually click yes or no, as well as do you need broadcast rights? And what's really cool is that with the requirements, remember when they get a job, when they get a gig from you or they buy a job, that requirements gets posted on the job, so you and them can see the requirements, so you can see if they press yes or no. That's a documentation, and if you put in there, you know what I mean. I do not give you permission to use this without purchase of these rights. You know what I mean? Then you see where I'm going with this. You've got to specifically do that. Fiverr is not an agency. All they are is a marketplace. The intellectual property claims department is like just them offering an extra service. It's your job to make sure that is. But Fiverr's right. There is no, unless you do it on your own, there is no legal. And once they buy it, it's theirs. Good question. Let's see. Sashil, you said my name perfectly. Thank you. Yay. Grant, got this one YouTube channel media company with multiple channels, 1 million subs, all wanting 1,800 word voiceover for $10. You know what's always funny about that, Grant? I totally know. They're they're making so much money with 1 million subs in those videos. I know. I get those a couple times. I get those daily. They want, a lot of words for very little money, but I don't need to do that. When I first started, I probably would because I didn't have any work. I had this weird philosophy. My philosophy was I want to work when I first started, even if it wasn't the most ideal pricing. I just wanted to work. And then I always thought, as time went on and I got more under my belt, same thing with audiobooks. I thought, how cool would it be to have 100 books? Or someone goes on Amazon, they type in my name and they see all these books. That guy's got experience. Do you know what I mean? Like I cared more about building up my business and the brand than I was at money at the time. Okay. I think we forget when we're starting off, nobody knows our business. Nobody knows our brand. We got to start somewhere. I'll never forget my grandfather started a lot of businesses throughout his life. And one of the first things he always did when he started a business was he give away a lot of stuff, right? It brought in people, it built trust. All right. It showed people what this was and did they like it? Was it something that they were interested in? If you don't do that, how are people going to even know? They're just going to take a chance randomly. So, yeah. So, I wouldn't do that personally now because I don't have time. But when I first started, I might do it. It's totally up to you, though, in your business. Let's see. Grant, would you handle this the same way? You said I turned them down and countered with a much more realistic number. Yes, I think I just answered that, but that's totally fine, Grant. That's up to you and your business. But just remember, and I would want you just to think about this. If you are sitting there twiddling your thumbs and not doing anything, and you could have got business and been paid, even if it's a little bit, you got to ask yourself, is that more, what's more important? You know what I mean? But again, that's totally up to you and what you want to do for your business. Joe says, I definitely agree with the statement about Upwork. Sean says, you must have missed my annual birthday video in the Facebook group. Sorry, Sean. Joe says, buy Fiverr stock, great deal. What do you think of Baldago? Baldago, I know of it. I've been on the site. I believe they charge you. I don't know much. Like, I don't have, when it comes to the pay-to-play sites, they're not one of the main ones, but they definitely have a name and they're definitely out there, and I'm certain people are working on them. But I don't feel comfortable giving you a real, yay or nay on them because I've never used them. So I wouldn't really know what to say. Sorry, it's all right. Grant says, thanks for the info. Let's see. Nikki, Henning, I too only have 4 hours a day. I went all out on Fiverr, Upwork, and ACX. Get some template messages ready. Give yourself a target each week of certain amount of auditions or apply for. Yep. Your sound studios earlier, that was a sample reply to a negative review on Fiverr. Oh, okay. Cool. That makes more sense. I was thinking I missed something. All right, Nikki says, do you have a contract for any of your larger jobs on Fiverr that you issue to clients? Do you advertise it? Got a big math app coming up soon. No, that's cool. I don't particularly have one that I use on a regular basis. However, I do have contracts for audiobooks now and different things, mainly audiobooks just because the size of the work. And I do a lot from that because of the different submissions. However, with milestones now being more, I think, seller friendly, I like the use of milestones. You know what I mean? But I don't use contracts just because I do so much that I'm like, it would just take forever for me to do the contracts. You have to think, right now, Fiverr is about bulk. Understand this. Fiverr is about bulk. Okay? Now, you might not want to do that, and that's fine. Again, this is just about, but for me, you know what I mean? I have an average selling price of almost $90 now. So each job is an average, $90. And, so if I'm doing 10 or 15 orders, do you know what I mean? A day or a couple of days, that are just turning over, right? I'm just trying to do the work. You know what I mean? I don't, the contracts would slow stuff down, as opposed if my average order price was $900 or $1,000, that would probably be different. So no, I don't have contracts for that, but I do have them available if I needed them. Odin's, what's up? Do you have any video that talks more about more requirements for a Fiverr account? I'm new and have absolutely. So you can really, my course, how to make 20,000 on Fiverr on a VOsJourney.com is, of course, I'm going to be biased, but it's probably, I think it's the best course out there to get started on Fiverr. I run through every single part of you setting up your gig and putting everything exactly the way it should be, and extra videos about how to get work and stuff. It's a 12 video series. You have unlimited access to it once you purchase it. And it's my best-selling course, and it's helped hundreds and hundreds of people. And what's wonderful is a lot of people part of VO's journey, you see them on the front pages consistently. So yeah, I would recommend you check that out. That's by far the best use of your time and money. Henning says, Nikki, I already get so much work from Fiverr to fill my VO hours that I would have passed on orders and missed out on opportunity to rise and shine on Fiverr. I already raised my prices, but maybe I should do it again to slow down a bit. All right, I'm not sure about that. Okay. Okay. Well, hey guys, listen, thank you guys so much for watching today. If you haven't got a chance yet, please subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with somebody who you think needs it. But I really appreciate it. Also, by the way, this is Friday, so you might not know, we've talked about the voiceover, the Fiverr course, but what I didn't talk about is a VO's Journey Elite. It's a weekly group. We meet Wednesdays and Saturdays where we get together on Zoom meetings, and I give you you coaching, advice on growing your business on Fiverr, on Upwork, and voiceover in general, marketing. We do voice acting. We do editing, mastering. We work on technical stuff, equipment, etc. It's just a great community. Plus, we have our own private Facebook group where we help each other grow. So if you're interested, there'll be a link below, and you can always check it out on avosjourney.com. All right, you guys, thank you so much. You have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. Thank you, everybody. You have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.